Well, Dimitri, every search for a hero begins with something that every hero requires. A villain. Heroes, by their very nature, are only as great as the evil or darkness they must overcome. The hero and their nemesis are entwined in a matrimony of direct conflict. For every scheme to do harm, the hero must grow and meet the challenge. Every thwarted attempt is replaced by a superior danger. Batman would not hold such stature as a hero if it were not for the deranged mentality of the Joker. Darkness, or light, is most prevalent in the contrast of its opposite. In the war between life and death, both sides have produced massive contributors to the cause. For every tyrant like Hitler, whose dark aura is still felt today, we have the opposite, like Princess Diana, whose light spread like trending on Twitter. I've used Batman as the hero example because, although superheroes are mythical, Batman is the closest to real life as possible. Batman represents the human union rep in the world full of superpowers. While others can vaporize you with their heat beam vision or make you disappear, he's David, the shepherd boy, with a slingshot against the Goliaths of life. One stone, one shot, one chance, one try to make it count. No superpowers, but he performs superhuman deeds with what he has, with what we all have, ourselves. Batman crosses over the mythical to reality void, teaching us that one person can make a difference. I believe the villain, the nemesis of life, is death. Anything that can't be reversed is a conundrum without an answer. Make no mistake, debilitating diseases are right up there on villain's most wanted roster. They are heavy hitters. Ask a cancer or AIDS patient and you know what I mean about suffering. But ultimately, they are still here. But the boss, the head honcho, the godfather, that's death. Never ending, never relenting. The eternal parasite feeding on the beauty of life with the darkness of death. Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King were both known for their attitudes of non-violent protest. I'm an advocate of what works, and if non-violence is gaining results, that's just dandy. But death requires a different tact. We need to fight back. We need a glimmer of light through the gloom. We need to wage war. To coin a phrase from Bane in The Dark Knight Rises. Step forward those who would serve, for an army will be raised. One of the Army's finest is Jim McLaren. 300 pounds, 6'3", American footballer, Yale student and aspiring actor. Jim's life was all in front of him. Jim's life was turned upside down when he was struck by a bus. He was pronounced dead at the scene. He arose from the 8-day coma to find his left leg amputated just below the knee. 3 years later, Jim is rated the top marathon amputee athlete in the world, setting many records amongst his peers. In 1993, tragedy struck Jim during an event. He was hit by a van. Unable to move above the hip, he became a quadriplegic. At this time, Jim's insurgent war on death intensified. I am not my body. I am a man, and I am alive. I am as alive as anybody. Jamming a basketball, scoring a touchdown, or hugging their child. Jim demonstrated the belligerent determination to not succumb to the darkness. No extraordinary powers, but his examples of living in dark circumstances are superhuman. Like a lighthouse looking for a lost ship, Jim proves that if the light is shining, it can be seen, no matter how dark. Heroes of our world don't fly, climb walls, or run faster than the speed of sound. They demonstrate their superpowers by the examples they've set, the memory of how they've lived, against the environments that they've lived in. To quote Jean-Luc Picard, what we leave behind is not as important as how we live. What we leave behind is not as important as how we live. Trust me, the hero factory churns out its best when villainy produces its worst. Jim McLaren is just like you and me, an ordinary person bringing an abundance of light to a dark situation. We all have, or will be, touched by death at some point in our lives. I know that feeling when someone close to you dies. You don't know what you're going to do. You can't eat because you're not hungry, and when you do eat, you don't want a lot. You can't sleep because you're not tired, and when you do sleep, you don't want to get up. It's crazy. It's when the darkness, to be honest with you, when the darkness just, I don't know, it just seems to be at its most dense. You've hit the black hole of your life. Don't know how you're going to carry on. Don't know how you're going to move forward. It's at this time is the most opportune to look for the light in the darkness and become the hero that villainy needs.